And we're running. So let me go and hit run here and show you exactly what we're going to be doing. As you can see, this is kind of what the end result will wind up looking like. So for the first project, what we're going to do is, one moment, once the module feels like running, we're going to be making graphics. And as you see, we have a little turtle, it drew a line, then an arrow, it drew a line, then a square, then a circle, and you notice it gets faster and faster and faster. This is basically the beginning of graphics here, as far as making graphics in Python. So I'm going to close that out, and I'm going to just make myself a new, I'm going to make myself a new file here, just to showcase the example here. And this is what we have here. And in the background here, I already have my little cheat sheet code, and we can just go and make ourselves some products. So let me just stretch this out some, keep it up a bit. What we have here is we have idle, and I'm going to just be making this. So to make graphics, we need to use something that's known as a turtle. And a turtle is a class, much like how random is a class. It is something that has its own different sets of rules and structures all to it. So whenever you wind up using something like that, you obviously must do something like import. Instead of doing import random, we can do import turtle. Okay? And turtles have their own type of objects. So I'll just name an object. I'll just name this mover. Okay, I could have named it bucket, I could have named it platypus, I could have named it anything. This is literally just the name of my item that I've made. This is my variable. And my variable is going to equal the class of turtle dot. But then what of it? What can it be? Well, I can make it, a shape. I can make it, I can make it a color, because turtles have their own colors. But the actual shape is a turtle. So it's basically turtle.turtle, but the turtle with a capital T is the actual physical object of a turtle. The turtle with a lowercase t is the name of the entire class, everything we're importing. So think of it like this. This is the big bucket called turtle, and inside that bucket is a smaller item called turtle. And turtle has different sort of things. Now, all these sort of movers, or whatever, all these little turtles, we can do stuff about it. So, I just need to go and decide what I want to do. So maybe if I want my mover, because that's the name of my object, and I go and say the pen size. That's how big the pen is. So, the pen is 1. 1 size would be smaller, 20 would be very large, It's, the width of, the brush that you have. And the same thing, I can change the speed of it. So mover.speed, I'll also make 1. And then, of course, mover.shape, I will make and this requires a single quote, I'll make you a turtle. And then, of course, so basically if I were to play this, I would have a turtle that has a speed of 1 with a pen size of 1. Now, I'm just going to set it. Now, in theory, it should orient itself to the direct middle of the screen anyway. So, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to set POS, which means set position. I'm going to set its position at 0x, 0y. So basically, if I were to put this screen and dissect it into quadrants, 0, 0 is the exact middle. It is not negative to the left, positive to the right, and it's not negative y, would be down, or positive y, which would be up. So we're at 0, 0. This should, in theory, be the exact middle of the screen. So if I were to run this, and of course it's going to ask me to save, so yes, what would I like to save this as? I will probably save this as an example of some sort, and I'll just name this as, example, I don't know, I'll name this just example trinket. Why not? I'll name it example trinket. There we go. So now it'll run. It should pop up right in the middle here. It's running the code right there on the side, and here it is. And there I go. I have myself a turtle right there in the center. except for the fact that my turtle is not a turtle, because it says the name mover is not defined. Oh, you see what happens when you forget to put a capital M and name your variables correctly? So here, let me run this. And now I have a turtle, a physical shape of a turtle right there. Now the shapes can be various things. They can be squares, circles, triangles, arrows, turtles, and classic, I believe. So I can just do stuff like that. But now let's actually move this across the side. So I can go and say something along the lines of, mover dot pen down. I want you to imagine a pen on a piece of paper. You do not write with ink unless the pen is actually touching the paper. So what I'm saying by pen down is I'm putting the pen down on the paper. So now it will make ink. And then of course I can just say mover.setPosition, and I can, instead of having it at 0, 0, let's put it at 300 across the x-axis and, 0 on the y-axis. And then of course I can take the pen up, so mover.pen up, so that now it's off the paper and it won't write anymore. And then I can just say set position. And this time I'll do 0 on the x because we're moving back to the center, but I will add it above. And now what you'll have when I save this and run it is I have a turtle that has made a line, and then it raised itself up and no longer made a line because the pen was up. So I drew a line, stopped it, and moved it over there. So that's obviously the first little bit, but with all this, we've still learned a lot here. We have made an object and made it a turtle. We decided how big its pen size is. We decided how big its space is, and we decided what its shape is, how big its speed is. We put the pen down and put it up, and we've moved it around the board. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start copying and pasting, and I'm going to start, changing some stuff around. Because you know what? Now that it's done that, let's change it. Let's make the pen size 2. Let's make the speed 2. Let's make it faster. And while I'm at it, let's not make it a turtle. Let's make it an arrow. Okay? And then, the pen is currently up, because the pen got up there. So now I need to put the pen down. So let me just copy all this and paste this in. And instead of putting it set position, it's actually starting at 0, 50. So I want to move it from that to that. And then you know what? Let's move it to 100. There we go. Save that. And I will run this module. And now you'll see it switches from a turtle at a speed of 1. Then it moves to an arrow with a speed of 2 with a thicker line. And it moves over there. So we're just going to keep on doing stuff like that until it is. So you know what? Let's just copy this. Copy. Paste. But this time, let's go 3, 3. And you know what? Let's make a square instead. We're going to keep changing the shape. And of course, we don't want to move to that. We want to move to 300, 100. And then that 100 is going to be a 150. And then, you know what? Let's go here, make this a 4, make this a 4. Let's change that from a square to a circle. And of course, we want to be at 300, 150, because 150 is where we left off on the Y last, which means we can go and put that as a 200. And then, of course, we can just go and say, put that as a 5, put that as a 5, and you know what? Triangle I'll use later, so why don't we just use classic? Classic is just a different type of looking arrow, honestly. And we want it at 200, and then you know what? Let's just reset it back to the original position just to put everything complete. And now we just run our module, and Python 19, and now we have ourselves our code going across. Boom, 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 and we can change stuff like that. And this is where we're just going to leave ourselves off. As you can see, when it comes to making things just 5 lines, we had to do a lot of code here. It's a lot of the same code, it's a lot of repeats. There are going to be ways to shorten this up, but I just want people to get in the habit of understanding what it is they're doing. Just putting the pen down, pen up. You have to tell it this, or else you're going to be drawing lines or not drawing lines when you don't want to. Remembering where positions are. So if I were to switch this around and instead of going set position 0, 50, I did 50 and then a 0. I would, instead of going to the left or right, I would be going up and down. So if I were to do that and run module here, you'll notice it went like that and then went like that, because I changed what it is I wanted to do. And you see how that worked? So yeah, so it's a matter of making sure you know exactly what it is you're doing. So just remember what it is you're doing. And once you have a working code that works like this, please save it, submit it, and I'll see you in the next video.